Welcome back to another episode on News Portal in Laravel. In this video, we'll create a database. We'll also create models and migration files via Laravel Composer that will create database tables for us. We'll also create controllers and work on the view files to insert, update, and delete data in Laravel. Finally, we'll display those data in the front end. Forgive me if the video gets a bit longer than usual, alright? So, without wasting time, let's get started. Since we have already set up the front-end and back-end view files in our previous lesson, let's get straight to the database. Let's open phpMyAdmin in a new tab, localhost phpMyAdmin. Click on New in the left panel and type in a new database name. Make sure that your database name is unique from the existing ones. Let's say Lara News. You can also select the character encoding, which is completely optional if you are going to work in international English. But if you want to work on your original language, I'd suggest you to use UTF-8 MB4 bin, which supports multilingual binary language. Click on Create and your database will be created. Then let's load the project in IDE and open .env file, which is at the root of the directory. Change the database name. Username will be root unless you have added authentication on your device. If you have done that, add your username and password here. And the default password will be empty. Save the file and you can close it. Then open the terminal and go to your project directory via command prompt. You know my project is an E drive, right? So I'll go to the E drive first, then cd xampp htdocs project name, all in a single command line. You can type in php artisan command and hit enter to see all the Laravel commands here. You can see a version of Laravel 2 here. Mine is 5.3, which will be a little different than the one you might be using if you have downloaded it recently. If you want to follow all along with me, you can go to the description section of my first video on this news portal series and download 5.3 files from there. All you need to do is replace your Laravel files with the one you find there and you're good to go. If you want to carry on with your latest version, I'll tell you the basic difference when you'll need to do things in a different way. Alright, so the first model I'm going to create is the category one, which will be easy to understand and follow along. PHP artisan make model category -m. This command will add a model named category and the migration file to our project. Open your project's app folder and you can see the category.php there. That's the model just created with our command line. You can define the table name and primary key here, which is not required to work my way in Laravel, which is comparatively the easiest way, but still we can define them to add methods here later in the future if needed. So the table name will be categories, that will be the plural form of model, and the primary key will be, let's say, CID. Another file created with the same command is inside the database migration folder. Open it and you can define a database table columns and data type from here. You can see the table name is already provided here. Let's change the primary key ID first. Let's add a column with data type varchar that will be termed a string here, and let's say the column name is title. Let's add a slug too, and maybe the status. You can define it as enumerator, but I'll go with a string. Then there's the timestamp by default. Let's go back to the terminal and migrate the table to the database. PHP artisan migrate, and you can see the list of tables that are migrated as of now. Open a database and you can see those tables are added to your database along with another table named migrations. This table holds the record of data migrated via Composer. Open the categories table and you can see it's empty. Click on structure and you can see the columns are there that were added along with the created at and updated at columns, which are timestamps. We already have the navigation item for categories in our admin panel. So let's go to resources, views, and rename category.html to category.blade.php. Let's close this too. We don't need them. Let's open the backend index blade and move the header and footer section to a new file as we did in the front end. But this time we'll move the side menu section too so that we can control it from a single file. Let's name it as master blade. Move the footer content too. Let's add @yield content here too. Then we'll add @extends backend master @section content on top of the view files and add @stop at the bottom. Let's do the same with the categories blade as well. Let's open web.php and define the route to load this file in browser. We already have category, so let's say this one is view category and the view file will be category, right? Check it in the browser and you can see the category template loaded here. Since we'll be working with a lot of database queries, let's keep things organized, alright? We'll create separate controllers to hold the code blocks for the admin dashboard, crowd operations, and front-end displays, and we'll reroute them from this file instead of writing everything here. Well, then let's go back to terminal. Let's create a controller to display contents in front-end first. PSP artisan make controller front controller. Let's create another controller to control the dashboard too. PSP artisan make controller admin controller. Now we can go to our routes file, remove the view functions, and reroute them to the controller instead. Let's say this will be rerouted to frontend index. Let's reroute this to frontend category. And this will be, let's say, posts. This will be admin controller at index. And let's say this will be admin controller at view category. Let's open the controllers then. Go to app, HTTP, controllers, and you can see them here. Let's open both of them. Let's add the view methods here then. Index method will return frontend index view. Let's copy it and paste it once for each view blade. Let's say this is category and return the category blade. The last one will be post and the view blade will be article, alright? Refresh the front end and check the routes. Well, index is working fine. Let's check the category. This is also working fine. Then let's check the post, and this one is also working fine. So let's do the same with the backend routes too then. Index will load backend index blade, and view category will load backend category blade. Refresh the browser and you can see it's also working fine. Let's go to the backend master blade and update the link for backend category view. URL view category. Now you can load the category blade from the side menu too. Now let's go to the category blade and modify it as per our requirement. We don't need the parent category and description section, so we can remove them. Let's add the status field there instead. Let's add the action URL to process the form. Let's say it's add category. We'll need the CSRF token as well in Laravel, so let's add it. This will produce a unique token value each time with the form, which must match the value present in the head section. Only then the form will be submitted. That means a person must open the admin dashboard to add data. We'll add the token in the head section at the end of this project. Here the field name will be title, slug is alright. To work on the data table section, we'll need to add access to database in our admin controller. So let's open it and add use DB on top. Then we can write $data equals DB table categories get. We must send the array data through the return method as object here. So we'll write data here. Now we can go to the category blade table section. Let's keep only one row of data in the body section and remove the rest. Then we can add the for each loop to display the data from the database. For each $data as, let's say, category. We'll display the title. We don't have count, so let's display status here. Then this will be slug. And this will be status. Let's display a message if there's no data. If count $data is greater than 0, this will be shown, else a message will be shown. Let's say no data found. Refresh the browser and you can see the message being displayed because we don't have any data as of now. We don't need pagination in this section, so we can remove that. Now let's try to add some data. Submit it, and you can see the error. It says no route defined because we haven't defined this route in the web.php, right? Let's define it then. This will be sent via post method, right? So this will be route post add category, and I want the form data to be processed in a separate controller, let's say CRUD controller, and the method will be insert data. We haven't created CRUD controller, so let's open the terminal and create it first. PHP artisan make controller CRUD controller. and that's done. Then let's open it and add the method public function insert data. Let's see what we are getting via form first. Print our $post. Refresh the browser and resubmit the form, and you can see the token value, title, slug and status sent via form here. It will be a bit monotonous to write $post or $get all the time. So what we can do is use eliminate support facades input instead to use input universally for all requests. If you are working with latest versions of Laravel, you'll need to replace it with use request. Alright, we'll need database too, and we'll need session as well. Now we can replace the $post like this here. Let's store all data sent via form into $data, and we can use input all. In latest version, unit request input instead. Let's print the data again and check it in the browser. And you can see the same set of data, right? Since we don't need access token in the processing block, we can exclude it here with except method. Resubmit the form, and you can see the token is excluded. Now we can add query to insert data to the database. DB table insert data. But what I want here is to make this method universal for all data tables. And how we can do that? We can do that easily by sending the table name via form. Let's have a look. Let's send the table name hidden from the form. Let's say the name is TVL, and let's encrypt the table name. Print the data once again and see how it looks. Fill the form and submit it. You can see the table value is encrypted here. Let's store the table value in $TVL. Let's print the table value, and you can see the table value here. Then we can add the table name dynamically in the query. Submit the form again. And you can see another error that says the column name TVL is not found in the table. That means we need to remove the table value from the array before running the insert query. So we'll add unset $data TVL. Submit the form once again. And you can see the blank screen, which means the data is submitted and there's no instruction on what to do next. Got it? Check the database table. And you can see the data is already inserted there. The created add and updated add fields are empty as of now. Updated add field will be updated while updating the data. Let's add created add value while inserting the data. Let's set $data created add value is current timestamp in human readable format. Let's set the session value to display message to the user. And redirect the user back to the same page. Let's check the session message in the category blade. Add some data. And you can see the session message. Let's make it look a bit more pleasant with Bootstrap alert. Let's add one more data to see how the session message looks. Well, that looks fine now. We can remove the underline from the close button through CSS. So the insert operation is done. Now we can work on the edit part, but before that, let's create a separate folder for the categories and move the add category blade inside it. Refresh the browser and you can see the template is not found. Let's go to admin controller and update the view blade location. Well, that looks fine then. Let's open the add category blade and save it as edit category blade. Let's open the Add Category blade. Update the edit category link. Let's say it's edit category, and we'll need to send the ID as well to define which data we want to edit. Refresh the browser and click on one of the data to edit it. Again, you'll see the route not found error. Let's add it in the web.php file. Let's say the method is edit category as well. Let's add that method in admin controller too then. Let's keep the ID in parentheses. We'll need that in a short while. Let's return the edit category blade view first. We'll display all data on the right hand side table, so we'll use the same query from view category method. Refresh the browser and you can see the result. Now we'll display the selected data in the form field. We'll add the select query to fetch single data here. DV table categories where CID equals to $ID. First, this query will give us the first set of data that matches the ID sent via URL. We can update the form section. We can update the form action URL in the edit blade. Let's add the values in the form fields from the retrieved data. Let's write the status display. We'll display the status from data first. Then if the status is on, we'll display off only. Else we'll display on only. You can see how it looks now. Let's try to update the data. And you can see the route not found error again. Let's add the route then. We'll send the ID to. And we'll send it to crowd controller. And the method will be update data. Alright. Let's copy the insert data method and rename it as update data. We'll replace created add with updated add value and the insert query with the update query. We'll need the key data defined here. Let's update the session message first. Let's send the primary key name and value hidden via form. Submit the form once again and you can see the data is updated easily. Let's add the edit category link in the edit section too. Edit the data and you can see everything is fine here. Let's work on the delete part then. Let's add the form tag on top of the table, right above the select tag. Let's say the URL is multiple delete. I want the delete method to be universal for all tables, so I'll send a table name via form. Let's send the table ID to via form. Let's add values 0 and 1 to the select options in this case. Let's change the checkbox field name to select data. This will be array if we want to delete multiple data at once, right? Add the value and close the form. I can't forget the CSRF token as well. Update the route in web.php and this time I want to place the delete code in admin controller because that will be the only controller will authenticate. Let's use input here as well. And for that, we'll need this code on top. And we'll need session too. Let's print the form data and see what we get. The first thing we'll need to check is the bulk action value. If the value is 0, we'll redirect the user back with a message to select another action. Refresh the browser and you can see the message. We don't need the source field to be sent via form. Since the source function is controlled via jQuery, it's not needed. Now we'll retrieve the table name and the table ID as well. We'll check if any data is selected or not to perform the delete action. If it's empty, we'll redirect the user back with a message to select the data. Refresh the browser and check. Here you can see the decryption error. That means we are trying to decrypt the data that is not encrypted. Look at the form and you can see the table ID is not encrypted. Submit the delete form without selecting any data and you can see the error. Let's select all data and try to delete and you can see the same message, which means the table data is not included in the form. Go back to the template and move the form tag outside the current parent div. You can opt not to close the form tag though. That won't matter in this case because there are no form fields below the table. Refresh the browser and try to delete again. Now you can see the blank page, which means everything's fine so far. Then let's get back to the controller and print IDs of the selected data. Try to delete the data again. And you can see the ID is printed. Now we can run the delete query inside the for each loop and delete each of them one by one. db table $tvl where tvl id $id delete. Let's add the session message to here after the data is deleted. Let's go a step back and try to delete some data. Well, that's working great. Let's look at another issue here. By trying to delete the data that is requested via URL, you can see this is the edit category blade displaying category data with ID 2. Let's see what happens if we deleted this data and try to redirect the user back to the same page. So you can see the try to get property of non-object error here, which clearly says there's no data with ID 2 in the categories table. To avoid this error, we can add a condition in our edit category method that checks the existence of the data first. Then if the data is not found, we can redirect the user back to view category. Let's refresh the browser and you can see the URL is changed to view category automatically. Let's add data again and try it once again. You can see it doesn't work in view blade, right? Let's go to edit blade first, delete it, and you can see the result. Let's replace the table code block of view category blade with the one from edit category blade. Try deleting data from the view blade. And you can see it's working fine now. So we have completed the insert, update and delete operation successfully here. Let's add some data to display in the front end. But before that, let's truncate the data table so that new data starts from ID number 1. Let's add the same items displayed in the front end statically as of now to our data table. So that's done then. Let's go to the front controller and add code to display it in the front end. Let's add it in the magic method construct so that we can use it in each blade without rewriting it anywhere in any other methods. Let's say $categories equals db table categories where status on get. Instead of return view, we'll add views here and send the array data as object categories $categories. We'll add all data we need to show in all templates in this method. Let's open the frontend master blade and add data in navigation using for each loop. This will be home URL, right? Let's remove all other navigation items and run one in for each loop. For each $categories as $cat. And for each, let's add the URL then. I'll add a category based category here. That will make it easier to run the query later, and we'll send a slug to the URL. And this will be the title. Let's make it uppercase as well. Refresh the browser. Well, we missed the semicolon in our front controller. We forgot to add useDB on top. Let's add that. And you can see all the categories with status on are displayed as navigation item here. Try changing the status of a couple of category items and you'll see the difference. Let's make the date on top automatic. We can change the year at the bottom too. That's in master blade, right? Add the PSB date function. And you're done. Well, that took a long time. I guess I explained everything in detail in this video. That's all for today. Thanks for watching and please subscribe our channel for more videos. Thank you.